All right. Captain's log, USS Navajo, stardate 48795.3. Captain David Perone reporting. The Navajo is headed to our current outpost to investigate a recent raid on the outpost and reports of several researchers that have gone missing. The outpost was heavily damaged, and it is unclear if the Maquis are responsible or it is due to some, other pirate activity. End log.
With that, we will jump over to the bridge of the Navajo. As the log stated, you are currently on course for the research outpost that was recently raided. Uh, wasn't much from the distress call from the outpost sent out. Um, Starfleet suspects potentially Maquis, as Maquis activity has been active, or it could be relatively also pirate activity.
This is
Uh,
a civilian research outpost or a Starfleet one?
it is a civilian based research outpost, but there is a Starfleet liaison officer there.
Got it.
You said there wasn't much information, but do we know if there are survivors or if we're reporting another almost total loss like the last one?
It's unclear. Um, it's surmised that Starfleet lost communication with the outpost, so you guys are at like currently maximum warp to get there. Essentially, you're trying to figure out, what happened, if they're still there, or what's going on, type deal.
All right, well then let's have our tactical officer pull down the latest security reports in the area, see what's been happening in the area, and perhaps Commander Rye can pull down and let us know what they can find out about what the researchers were up to.
Okay, so security reports for the area, correct? What role would that be?
I'll give you an insight security difficulty 0, so you guys have a chance to gain some momentum. But you should read the logs that are within Discord channel, the 10th Fleet Discord channel, the Aurora command logs, mainly.
Okay.
That's where you're going to find that information at.
Okay.
It's tied in with the other adventure.
It is.
Oh. The very last one on command logs.
There should be multiple ones. Essentially, you are right around the start date is 48795.3. There is one that's very recent. And
So
then
the captain's log, the one that says
yeah,
the Phantom.
yeah,
Got it. The one probably written by you.
yes, the one by B.
Okay, so I'll make insight and security. Can I use my customs enforcement focus, meaning I understand how crap moves around colonial groups? Or should I just roll insight and security?
I'll take the focus.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to click on perform task here using focus. Do you guys want to spend momentum on this? This is a diff 0, so I'm probably going to generate some.
Yeah.
A momentum.
You don't have any momentum, so we're hoping that you'll give us some.
Okay. then yeah, I'm just going to use all my knowledge of these kind of areas
And you're going to roll fantastically.
Good.
Dang.
Okay.
Apparently, you know this area.
I know how these kinds of areas work, sir, because I came from an area that was 200 light years from Earth. So I'll put that to everybody as a TAC report they can look at. And then I'll glance at these Aurora command logs, but
We have access to these logs, GM. Like this is these are logs that
Yeah.
our crew would be able to note. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's why they exist.
gosh, I haven't written anything. I feel like a slacker.
Join a club.
But you know what? I'm going to be a slacker for a while. I will join the club, and write one, but I'm going to be a slacker for a few more
No,
days.
join the Slacker club. I haven't written anything either. No.
Really? And you want somebody else in the club, so you're not alone.
Yeah. I feel a lot better about myself.
I feel all alone.
That's awesome.
I was writing some stuff a few months ago, and I've just gotten lazy. I see the other person playing the engineer on the other game logged one, and I'm like, oh man.
His logs are hilarious because of how he plays.
They are very funny. They are very funny.
Don't worry, Captain. You're not alone. I write logs too.
Yeah, yours are the nice slice of life logs. It's a day on the Navajo kind of thing.
I try. Thank you.
And I cheat because I write them as I go.
I started taking notes during the game to make it easier at the end.
But can we? Is there an inventory or a quartermaster report, anything of that nature on this station we could pull down to get an idea of what at this station might interest pirates of the Maquis, or this phantom person that's in Captain Rear's logs, or however you say her name. Kier, this phantom guy that's in Captain Kier's logs.
I would believe there'd be a way to request it. I don't know that we have that information. Is that in the logs that I've pulled up, or is that information that would only the station would know?
I'd say what? Someone gave me an Insight plus Science difficulty 2, assisted by these ships' computer science.
Okay.
Well, that sounds like a job for me.
I'll roll the ship.
You stole my line.
I just have to find the ship. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Hold on.
With my probably no focus would apply on this one. I'm going to go ahead and spend a momentum, though. Get 3 dice. I'm going to go fishing on that 19, too.
Nice.
Yeah, you caught one.
Hey! Oh, you were no help, but thanks.
Hey, you know what? Don't hate.
You
Don't
had to
hate
try.
me. Don't hate me. Hate the ship.
Never.
Was that a difficulty too?
Yes, it was.
All right. But the momentum.
That's always interesting, trying to get logistics command to send us information. Those quartermasters, it's just kind of stingy with the information.
Seems to be a medical research station, Captain, but it's not in the Starfleet database. Seems civilian, but
Well, medical research stations are likely to have medical supplies. That's probably something that the Maquis have a great need of. But let's not make any assumptions about the perpetrators of this assault until we get there and learn more. I don't have any other ideas for what to look into on the way, so I'll let the rest of the crew. If they don't have other ideas, I guess we can skip ahead since we're moving it to warp 9 point something or other.
Engines are maintaining steady at warp 9.2.
Oh, and here I thought we were pushing the engines, Commander.
If by pushing you mean we are using the maximum capacity of the engines, we have reached that maximum capacity outside of danger zone, Captain.
Only a 9.2. I'd have thought by now you'd have gotten a couple more, a little more warp factor out of her.
Really? Interesting.
Oh, I figured it's logical to assume that when one has a Vulcan engineer, that the engine would be running at peak efficiency.
I believe that the engines are running at peak efficiency, but if you have suggestions, Captain, as to how they could run faster than 9.2 without exploding, I would be open to those suggestions.
Me? Suggestions? That's why I have a chief of engineering. But I bet you Jordy LaForge could get 9.3 or 9.4 out of those engines.
That is certainly possible. I can see if we can squeeze more out of the engine's capabilities. In the meantime, we are maintaining at 9.2, and our estimated time of arrival is, and then he gives that based upon the engine speed and the course trajectory.
Is there anything else? Or are we gonna jump to your arrival?
Yeah, unless there's any tax documents or something, I can't think of anything else.
There's no money in the future, so there will be no taxes.
That's what I was thinking. There's got to be some kind of logs though of transit of goods though somewhere. But I think
Gold pressed latinum sounds an awful lot like money.
yeah.
I meant for the Federation, but
Yeah, I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
I don't have anything.
yeah, no, I got nothing.
I'm sitting on the engines trying to make them go faster.
I have done my union required needling of the Vulcan engineer.
Dropped out of work, Captain. Engaging impulse.
Very good. Commander Roy, give us a scan of the area. Let's make sure we're all alone out here except for the station.
Aye, Captain.
Reason plus science. Difficulty of 1, assisted by the ship's sensors plus science.
Oh,
There we go. Oh, and actually the ship can roll too because we have advanced sensors.
that's right. That's right. I just thought of that.
Okay. Well, it's still.
Like the moment I rolled it, I'm like, oh.
Well, that maxes you out on momentum anyway, so.
Nothing else in the area, Captain, but I am picking up 4 life signs on the outpost, but they sustained heavy damage. Several breaches. Hull breaches. Several hull breaches.
Very well. Any update on those life signs? Are they injured? Are they struggling? Any more information you can give us on that? And Lieutenant Vogel, see if you can raise the station on subspace.
Aye, sir. We'll attempt to open comms.
Unclear on their full status, sir, but the life support system does still appear to be online.
I'm able to get a message through, sir. Audio only.
On speakers.
We don't have anything. Please
Rest
just
easy,
leave us
Ricardo.
alone.
Rest easy, Akara System. This is Captain David Perron of the USS Navajo. What is your condition?
Starfleet?
Yes, sir. We're here to help. Tell us what you need. I'll send a crew down.
This station smashed. Honestly, I'm not sure what we really need. I'm just a tech.
Do you have injured?
The director, he's in our medical infirmary. He was injured pretty bad.
Do you still have medical staff?
Just The doctor. Um,
All right, Rip. What's your name, son?
Hal. Sorry, this is. It's a little rattling, Captain.
That's perfectly all right, Hal. Y'all hang tight. We're on our way.
Of course.
Commander Burrell, taking away team, medical, engineering. Let's go. Let's go render some aid.
Aye, sir.
And I guess we're going to spend the crew support to activate the XO.
How many crew support points do we have?
5 total.
So we'll need one for the exo and then one for a medical. And then
Do you want to
probably transport.
I was going to ask, do you want to activate the doctor?
Well,
So the supervisory characters cost 2.
I know. That's why I was asking.
no.
Yeah, but we will need an engineer just in case we need to fix something.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Cool.
Solok, one of the nurses. Who else wants to go? Out of character saying.
I'll go. I don't have a secondary character yet, so
Well, never having security is never a bad thing.
that's right.
So me, Lieutenant Knox, Solok, and a medical.
Yeah, take one of the nurses. Vogue, you up for taking one of the nurses?
Yeah. Let me
All right,
pick
Burrell
a different one this time.
Burrell will give
You
orders.
don't have to take a nurse. You can actually take a doctor.
Yeah, as long as we don't take another supervisory character.
Supervisory. Yeah. But there are other doctors who are not supervisory.
Do you have a problem with nurses?
I love nurses. That came off a little weird. I'm sorry.
I had an inappropriate comment. I figured I'd hold it back for now.
You know.
But
and that was out of character. Just FYI.
No,
It
nurse.
was well timed. It was well timed.
I'll take Dr. Amon, I think.
And you have to do it in a Sarin accent. I look forward to that.
What's a Sarin accent?
That's for us to find out.
I'm thinking Wisconsin. I don't know why.
I mean, I'm from Chicago. I'm sure I sound close enough to a Wisconsin accent.
You know what? I wondered if you were from Chicago. I wondered that based on your accent.
Yeah, just go up a pitch and throw in some don't you knows. You should be fine.
Don't you?
Don't you know?
Isn't that Minnesota?
Yeah, they're close
It's
enough.
all the same.
There's cheese involved somewhere. It's fine.
Don't tell them that it's all the same.
I thought cheese, that was Wisconsin, right?
It is Wisconsin.
It is
It
Wisconsin.
is, but it's also more than Wisconsin because there's other areas around that probably produce cheese. Cheese is wonderful.
Hmm.
Is this your away team? As I'm trying to not have the dogs in the background.
That
Looks
looks like
good
a
to me.
character for all of us.
And do we need to roll for the transporter chief to beam them down?
Yes, because it is a difficulty 1.
So we have to activate it.
Control plus engineering assisted by the ship's sensors plus science, difficulty 1.
Okay. All right. help us engineering. I'll take care of whatever we're going to add to him later. Difficulty 1. Rolling. And the ship was, I'm sorry, was
Sensor science.
Sensor Science. 2. Got a bonus momentum.
Just
I was gonna
FYI,
say, oh no.
I have to edit the macro. So
I was like, oh my god, the XO got lost in transit.
I knew it was going to happen one of these days.
Which is why
Transport.
Vogel stays away from the transporters.
as you beam in, so I don't have a map for this part, but you beam into a corridor or the station. While the station's not very big itself, you see large amounts of debris scattered about, bulkheads down, fires, emergency force fields in places. You see the vacuum of space in certain, portions of the corridor, and a rather tall, lengthy bullion comes up to you. You're from the Navajo?
That's right. I'm Commander Baral. This is Commander Salak, Commander Rai, Lieutenant Knox, and Dr. Amon. You said you had injured.
Yes, they're over in our medical area. Sorry. Um, thank you for answering our distress call.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. Who's in charge?
That would be me.
Right. Well, I tell you what. Why don't you give me why don't you tell me what happened, Dr. Amon? If you want to report to their medical and assist, Commander Solak, if you'll go to see where they need your help most with their engineering difficulties and their repairs.
At once, Commander. I will check the status of the station's power first, if I may.
Knox
Where
and
do you want me
you're
going?
with me for now.
What's up?
Lieutenant Knox, you and Commander Rai be with me for now.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Understood.
Solok will get out his tricorder and basically do a scan to see if he can determine where the power, relay is, essentially the station's engineering section, and then he'll
Oh.
travel there.
It's 3 decks down.
Right. So he'll go in that direction to basically check to see the status of the station's power, if it's stable, and then from there he'll then begin to do a diagnostic and a damage control assessment of the station.
Hey, give me 1 second, guys.
No problem. And while we're here waiting, Solak says that it's curious that they would damage the station in such a way but not destroy it. And then what did they potentially take from the station?
Well, hopefully that's what we're down here to discover. Let's get them up and running and get the repairs started before worrying too much about that. I'll meet with Mr. Dryad here and see if he can tell us what happened. We'll figure out our next steps from there. Certainly, we'll need to repair damage to life support, as you suggested, Commander, and then to their defensive systems.
Based on what we know of the Maquis, is this typical of their type of raid on a particular station?
Really varied from cell to cell, Commander. Some were more violent than others. You have to remember that my people were fighting a prolonged occupation from a hostile force.
Yeah, it's interesting.
For
This
a lot of the
attack seems
people,
most illogical to me.
depends on what their goals and missions were. There were plenty of colonies in the Badlands that were undersupplied. They weren't getting regular supplies from the Federation. I'm sure the Cardassian colonies in the DMZ were feeling the same way. They raided each other for supplies on a regular basis. An outpost like this, possibly lightly defended, medical supplies, could mean the difference between life and death out in the Badlands.
But
Right.
for a station so lightly defended and a civilian station, why so much damage?
Unless this is a third party, either posing as the Maquis or trying to take advantage of the situation. We'll know once we take a look at those impact reports. We'll be able to tell what kind of weapons did it. I think the Maquis would have a limited range of ordnance. So,
Well, I don't know about limited range. They buy weapons from whoever will sell. Run into Maquis raiders before that were Federation weapons. Some used Klingon weaponry. I even ran into one or two that had Romulan weaponry. To be honest, I agree with the captain that it's unwise at this time to assume this was a Maquis raid until we know more.
right.
And it's for that reason that I ask these questions. It does not seem typical of what it is that they do based upon my understanding of their methods.
Again, among the Maquis, that the amount of violence used varied varied from colony to colony, cell to cell. This very well could have been one of the more aggressive Maquis, or it could be this phantom character in Captain Kier's logs. I didn't read any indication of whether or not that individual claimed to be a member of the Maquis or not. Did you?
No, I did not see that there was a specific association with the Maquis. The use of Federation citizens as slave labor was most interesting. And that also was some sort of scientific or research facility. There might be a connection. It is most illogical, most baffling. It seems to be that the violence here, just on superficially looking at things, was done solely for the purpose of violence.
Again, tough to speculate on that without more information, Commander.
Indeed.
And do keep in mind that no matter how illogical a person's actions may seem to us, except for those suffering from certain extreme mental illnesses, the logic works for whoever did it.
One could even argue that violent actions in and of themselves are a form of mental illness. Violence itself is highly illogical, and in many cases unnecessary.
I agree, but I seem to remember something about the Vulcans using a great deal of violence the first time they met the Klingons.
A long time ago. We have since changed since then. Be interesting if the Maquis adopted a philosophy of separating emotion from their actions. They might be more effective. But that is, of course, speculation on my part, Commander. We could have an entire discussion of philosophy and philosophical ideas here until, as you say, the dogs come home. But there are more pressing matters at hand.
Cows.
Cows?
Till the cows come home.
Ah, yes. My apologies.
No need. It's not my world's idiom.
The medical facilities just down this corridor. The turbolifts are inoperable. I've been. It took me a while just to get life support back up and running again.
And that
I will
was
see what additional repairs I can do to life support so that it is maintained.
very good, Dr. Mon. Commander Solak, report your progress at regular intervals.
Aye, aye.
Yes, Commander.
Well, Mr. Dryat, you have a place you want to meet and talk, or should we just do this right here in the transporter room?
I'm
Yep.
afraid there's not. We have a lounge of what's left of it. It's this way.
And the commander and will lead Knox and Rye in following Dryat.
Yep.
All right, who's going to the med center? Dr. Amon and
I think it was just Dr. Amon because I think Solak was doing his engineering duty stuff.
And I am utterly useless in a medical bay.
where's Rye going?
I thought I was going to go with the XO, but if I'm needed elsewhere, we can do that too.
I figured she could come with the XO until we learn more and figure out where she might be needed.
Okay. We'll jump over to the medical area real quick. Surprisingly, we walk in, while there's, despite what the map looks like, there are, some bulkheads down lying about, um, hypo sprays and other canisters just lying around, and you see looks like in civilian clothing, the Nomain woman, um, frustrated as she kind of leans against the desk there. She's like, how did you get the? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize Starfleet had arrived. I am Doctor Trelli Arua. Who?
I am Dr. Amon. I am here to assist.
Uh, um, Short of all of our medical supplies were ransacked. I have both Dr. Taval and Lieutenant Mari still, patched up the best I could.
My ship is nearby should we need medical supplies.
I don't know the full extent of the injuries. I've been using my tricorder for most of the work. Dr. Trevel's got multiple lacerations, along with a head trauma and a couple broken ribs. He is the least of the injured, and the lieutenant here, she suffered a disruptor burn. She's going to need some extra care. Can't hear me?
Yeah, we couldn't
Yeah,
hear.
we lost you like all throughout all of that.
Oh, my mic dropped through all of that.
No,
Yeah.
I think Discord was being stupid.
I think there was the Discord messed you all up.
Great. Okay, short version. Dr. Traval is got like some broken ribs. He suffered from a head trauma. Currently, she has him somewhat sedated. To keep him from moving around, because she doesn't know the full extent of the damage. Lieutenant Maria Donnell, she has a disruptor wound to her abdomen, as well as other multiple lacerations and injuries. She is currently also sedated. She says the lieutenant is in need of surgery. I hope you guys got that.
Yeah. They're pretty messed up. Are they able to be transported?
Yes, they could be transported. They're in stable enough condition. They probably need to be transported straight to your sick bay, though.
I agree. Dr. Aman to Navajo.
This is Navajo. Go ahead, away team.
I require emergency transport straight to sick bay.
Very well. How many?
Dr. Aman will glance to the other doctor, trying to give a glance like, are you wanting to come with type deal?
She nods.
4.
Very good, Dr. Mon. Stand by. And then Perone will call down to the about to say engine room. Perone will call down to the transporter room and have our transporter chief transport the four indicated straight to medical.
And do you need the transporter chief? Never mind. To do the roll.
All right. Sticking with the commander here, Brawl. Hal takes you to where the lounge is at. He gives motions like, I would offer you something, but they seem to have ransacked all the emergency rations too.
That's perfectly fine, Hal. Just have a seat, take a deep breath. Tell me what happened.
Attack came out of nowhere. We have minor defenses that we were quickly overrun. Multiple hull breaches, and then a boarding party. There's a few spots on the station where I hid in one of the Jeffrey's tubes.
Sometimes that's the wisest course of action. Did you see the boarding party? Did you see who it was?
No, I did overhear a name, Dira. She sounded like the one in charge.
Ira or Adira?
Dira.
Did you? Okay, so you were hiding it. You were wisely hiding, which is probably saved your life. So that was good. Did you see the attackers? Were they human, Andorian, Cardassian?
I didn't get a good look. I didn't want to risk it. Um, it's just well, there are parts of the station that there was some echo areas, so I got heard a little. They said they were in a hurry, and to take whatever they could, and I think they had somewhere else they needed to go to.
Okay. Do you have other than the people in sick bay? Were there other folks that hid like you did that might have also survived?
Um, there was 20 of us on this station. I can't tell you how many others hid. All I know is there was sounded like a phaser fight that broke out. Maybe it was disruptors. I'm sorry, it's unclear. I wish I could be more helpful with that. When I came out of hiding after things settled down, and um, to be honest, I'm the least injured out of everyone. Everyone else, even the doctor, she well, despite being new to all this, she came out, I guess, okay. But the director and our Starfleet liaison officer, they were both severely wounded. I don't know what happened to the rest. Some of them could have been sucked out into space for all I know.
Okay. Um, is there a working command center or someplace where we could access sensors and security locks?
Yes, this way.
And we'll follow him.
As we're walking there, I'm looking for any signs of combat blasts on the wall. The
Oh, it's
that kind of stuff.
everywhere.
Okay, that can tell you a lot about who was fighting here and the numbers and stuff like that. So she's processing that through
Give me
her experience.
insight security difficulty 2.
Okay, let's see here. Insight security difficulty 2. I do have hand phasers and I have combat tactics as a focus. Do either of those apply?
I will take I'll take streetwise.
Okay, even better. Okay, that's 2 dice. Do you guys want me to spend one on this? Just in
Might
case anybody's lying.
My general rule of thumb is to have one more dice in the difficulty. That's usually how I decide.
Okay. So I'm going to add 1 die to this roll then. And I
You-
do have cautious.
And the momentum is always there for us to spend it.
Okay. Here it goes then. Okay.
Let's roll.
Gaining momentum.
Okay. Okay. For me, the roll is not popping up yet, so
You got 3 successes.
I got 3 successes.
Mhm.
Okay, GM, whatever that means.
Intentional. I sent you a
Okay.
message there.
Here it is. Okay. So some of the bulkhead shots seem intentional and the other ones seem random. I'll just scan them. Maybe it's something that'll make sense.
You clearly see some things were like pulled out like hastily from the bulkheads.
Oh, so this was
Like
them raiding. This is raiding. This backs the case that raiding was going on.
correct.
Yeah, because those power transfer units that Starfleet keeps in its walls, those are worth gold out in the frontier. So yeah, I'm scanning that. I'll make sure the commander knows.
Feel free to role play it out.
Sir, the some of this damage to the bulkhead is consistent with raider tactics. FYI.
Any idea from the damage? This phaser damage, disruptor damage. Any idea whether these are Federation, whether these are Starfleet weapons, Cardassian, Klingon, what have you?
For
Gee.
momentum.
Yeah, I'll do it for momentum if there's no objection. This would be the opportunity to do it. Obtain info. Okay, I'm seeing a mix of different types of weapons and impacts. That could indicate mixed forces and resources. Mainly phasers and Klingon disruptors.
Well, could be raiders, could be Maquis. Maquis are known for getting weapons wherever they can get them. I
Right.
imagine our Mister Dryad here would have recognized Klingon voices if he'd heard them. I assume Mister Dryad, since you didn't say that none of the voices sounded Klingon.
No. Um, this is the main computer terminal area, at least for operational functions of the station. Sorry, it's not much, but they even took the chairs.
No doubt. But Federation standard issue chairs are quite prized in some places in space.
Really, I hear Orion desk chairs are much more comfortable.
They're handmade. That's the difference.
Commander Rye, we'll see what you can get out of these systems. And Lieutenant Knox, go over their security logs, whatever you can find. Let's see if we can identify who exactly did this.
Hi,
Sounds
Commander.
good.
I'm going to head back over to Solok. Uh, Solok, give me a fitness plus con roll, difficulty 1, to make it through the rubble and everything to get down to the engineering section.
I could have done my sit-ups today. Hey,
Really? You just want to cause drama?
there's a lot of debris. It's really hard to get through it.
You walk. You don't. You just walk down a hallway. It's not that
There's no
hard.
walking. I got to climb over stuff and get through stuff. There's a lot of damage.
As you climb over bulkheads and downed beams, you hear a slight shift in the station as you raise an eyebrow to wonder what that is. You immediately see one of the bulkheads start to collapse towards you as narrowly escaping the collapse of the this section. You make it towards the Jeffries tubes as this corridor and your path back up to the rest of the way team is now blocked off.
Solok taps his comm badge and says, Solok to Commander Baral.
Go ahead, Commander.
It would seem that certain parts of this station are not stable. I was nearly killed with a bulkhead collapsing nearly right in front of me. My path back to you has now been blocked due to the damage. I will proceed my way to the engineering section to continue my tasks at hand, but safety and caution are advised.
Very good, Commander. Please to try not to get killed. I'd hate for my first away team mission as the XO of this ship to end with a fatality.
It is not my intention to end my life on this station.
I'm relieved to hear that.
Very good. I will proceed to engineering presently. Solok out.
As you make it through the narrow Jeffries tubes, you notice several bulkheads and EPS conduits ripped out of their location. Making it down to the as you come into the engineering section, you see bulkheads stripped away, lying on the floor, I beams, and a couple what looks like civilian technicians lying on the ground.
I go over to assess the technicians, and I'm assuming that they are deceased.
They are clearly deceased. You see multiple, what appears to be some sort of weapon signature burn upon their chest, and the other one is on their back.
I go and look at the console to see what the current status of the power supply is for the station and whether or not it is stable. Also, is life support stable?
Give me a insight plus engineering difficulty of 2.
Please take a die from momentum. And may I use diagnostics as a focus? Or repairs and maintenance?
I'll take repairs and maintenance.
Okay. Rolling. I will fish that 19.
Come on, complication.
Ah, I didn't count a bass. Sorry, GM.
I got a pass. Nice, nice.
As you take your tricorder reading out, you begin scanning the area. You notice that indeed Hal was able to, geo-rig the life support back online for use through emergency batteries. It is clear, though, that this situation will not last much longer, at least maybe given the amount of people on board, next 2 or 3 days. Unfortunately, it would seem that a lot of the parts to get the main reactor are missing, and in fact, also their connection points are greatly or essentially like someone took a plasma cutter and ripped them out, hastily damaging the parts. The reactor, it would take several weeks to repair, if not. You've noticed that potentially going through the engineering console, that structural integrity is extremely weak and failing. It is possible that this station is going to maybe potentially break apart in the coming days.
In the coming days, okay. So not right now, but in the coming days, both the power and the structural integrity of the station will likely fail.
Correct.
Solok to Commander Burrell.
Go ahead, Commander.
I have done my assessment of the damage and of the situation here on the station. There are 2 elements that are concerning and would require a decision to be made. One is the structural integrity of this station. I estimate that the structural integrity will fail in precisely 47.43 days. Sorry, 47.3 hours. In addition, the power for this station will fail in precisely 49.2 hours. The reason for this is the damage done to the station, as well as what seems to be rather significant looting of technology, both from engineering and the power conduits along the way. I also report that there are 2 fatalities here in the engineering section.
Can those estimates be extended with repairs, Commander?
I do not believe so at this time. The station is so damaged, so significantly damaged, and the parts have been stripped away, that it would take a space dock in order for us to extend the life of the station.
That is unfortunate, but you're confident, I assume, that we have about 2 days.
Yes, I believe I said that.
Just want to make sure I heard you.
In any case, I would not recommend lingering for very long on this station. While my estimates are accurate, it is possible that there are additional structural changes that could affect the station. And it is also possible that whoever raided this station could come back. Though that is unlikely, considering that they seem to have taken virtually everything of value.
I concur. Plus, they seem to have been in a hurry to get out of here. Someone cowardly enough to attack a station with this little defenses probably will not be in a hurry to take on a Federation starship.
GM, real quick, the 2 individuals that were killed, you said one of them, they were shot in the back? Is that what you were saying?
One was shot in the back, one was shot in the chest area.
Okay. And these are civilian engineers or like civilian people. These are not like
Yeah,
Starfleet people.
they're
right?
civilians.
Commander, it is interesting that these two civilians here were killed. They do not seem to be carrying weapons, nor does it seem likely that they would put up some sort of fight against people who were trying to raid the station.
As you might say, violence just for the sake of violence is illogical.
Indeed. If they simply wanted the technology here, they could have just taken it. There'd be very little resistance these individuals would be able to put up against them, especially if they were armed. And they seem to know what they wanted to take.
Both good observations, Commander. Go ahead and go ahead and get a good scan of the two bodies for possible forensic examination later, and then have them transported to the sick bay aboard the Navajo so we can recover the bodies in case the doctor wishes to do an autopsy. Then see if you can determine, make an inventory if you can of what was stolen.
Acknowledged. And Solak will begin to do that. Basically, what he'll do, GM, is he'll use his tricorder to sort of take a forensic crime scene of the area, and then he'll start to do an inventory based on his knowledge of what was likely taken. And I'm assuming what was taken was all the power coupling relays and all the power cells, things like that. Anything that would be of value.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
For like a forensic analysis on the bodies, you can either spend 2 momentum or you can roll a reason plus security difficulty 2 on it.
Reason security. I'll do the roll. Difficulty 2.
Correct.
I'm gonna try it. I'll buy a die with momentum. And I don't think I've got anything in terms of a focus that applies, so I'm just gonna roll it.
You do a detailed scan of the two bodies. So you created the trait, forensic analysis, essentially forensic pre-analysis. So that way, anyone going over the data will have their difficulty reduced and have all the relevant information that they need from it.
And I send that information to Lieutenant Knox as well, so that way she has that on her tricorder as well, since this is a security matter.
Excellent. I will use it as well.
Anything that I can glean from what I see in terms of the the forensic analysis that the tricorder pulls up?
They are both human. One male, one female. Both shots were done with a disruptor.
Can I determine, based on this information, what kind of disruptor, or do you need a momentum for that?
It's Klingon.
Klingon. Okay. So he flags that in his in the analysis that he sends to Knox.
Okay. And I'm putting all this together in searchable stuff so that we can compare information from various locations and reports. And I'll make my roll whenever you tell me to.
Which role is that?
Um, you had told me I could make a type of roll to look into the security
Oh yeah,
files.
yeah. Go back up to
Yeah.
the thing real quick. I was gonna transfer over to the sick bay real quick before we lose Vogel for a bit. Dr. Mon, you beam over with your 2 patients and the other doctor.
And Whitman says, "Okay, what do we have here, Amon?"
Oops, I selected everybody.
I did the same thing too.
Multiple injuries.
Well, I can see that. Who's this?
Dr. Tavel. He has suspected concussion, potential internal injuries.
Right, and the other one here?
The lieutenant here has severe disruptor burns.
Okay, why don't you work on the lieutenant and I'll work on the good doctor here.
Yes.
Who is this right here?
I am Dr. Trelliora. Pleasure to meet you. As she kind of clutches
Yes,
inside a little bit. If you don't mind, I have been working for 36 hours straight. I'm also past my sleep time.
Well, I actually do mind. You're going to lie down on that table right there while my associate Vigo gives you a medical check himself.
Of course.
Thank you, doctor. And we haven't activated Dr. Whitman, so I'm not going to roll anything. I'll let Amon do his rolls.
Sounds good. Oh, speaking of Dr. Amon, who made Dr. Amon?
I made him.
What would you like to give him?
You do it, man. He's a collaboration of all of us. The only thing I liked about him is I liked the fact that he was a Soren and he was a doctor. That was it. And I think I gave him bold medicine, right?
Yeah. Probably
So,
give him a focus.
Yeah.
Why is this? Is someone on the sheet?
Sorry, I was
I'm
double
not.
checking there was a rule on there. So, or if it was like up to
Okay.
date, because I remember he was created during 1E. So,
Yeah, he was.
I was like, why is this not typing?
While he's doing that, Jim, I just have a quick question. Where do you get your maps for these things? Like the sick bay? Where do you get this from?
Oh, you are kidding me.
I don't know.
God, I hate these sheets. It literally just deleted everything on it.
Oh, all the notes? Oh, no.
Yeah. The thing's finicky.
Very.
I get the maps
like
from a lot of them from Teduri. He makes a lot of different Star Trek stuff, like for interior maps. He also does certain work. Usually, I have the links like on my stream and all that stuff, and also on the YouTube channel for anyone who's
Sure.
listening in who wish to take a look at his work. He's very talented.
His work is great.
So
it's really great.
Yeah, he also does custom work for a fee. So
Is that the Brazilian guy?
yeah,
Oh God, he's so good. Yeah.
Hmm.
He's talented well outside of this stuff. I mean, he does this stuff like as just a side. He's got his own gig going, working CGI.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. What do I got to roll here? Because I have like 2 minutes.
okay. For this, I will. We run the biobed. It's clear that she's got a major disruptor burn, also some internal bleeding. We will make this one big roll. So give me a daring plus medicine assisted by the ship's computers plus medicine, difficulty of 4.
Value: all things have a right to live.
Sure.
All right. I'll use one. I'll give you 1 threat, 2 momentum. You said diff 4.
I did.
And the ship is what was the ship again?
Computers medicine.
Computers medicine. I got it.
I'm assuming I have a focus here, right?
This is surgery.
Surgery. Okay.
Yeah, I think surgical slots for extended tasks. So, get both back plus gain 1. So,
And we need the
and-
ship.
I got the ship. That is an amazing roll, Amon.
Maybe you should stop rolling for the ship, Solak.
Hey, come on! Don't be hating. Don't be hating me. Hate the ship. Ship is not feeling good.
Hey, when
tonight.
I roll, she's always nice. I just think she doesn't like you.
Solak has not been given the ship enough love in engineering.
She's mad that you keep messing with her engines.
I keep cooking too much.
That's right.
She wants her own baked Alaska. You managed to stabilize the lieutenant. But whatever is clear, it was definitely done with a high-powered phaser rifle.
Not disruptor.
I said it was a mix of weaponry being used.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought she said disruptor.
She said it looked like a disruptor wound. She's been working on broken equipment, so
Yes. So yeah, she'll get her stabilized and move over to Dr. Taval.
give me a daring plus medicine difficulty of 3. His injuries are not as severe. This will be emergency medicine. He doesn't have any real internal bleeding, just mainly broken ribs, and then he's also got the concussion. But she was accurate on that.
Threaten
ship
2 momentum.
Ship's not assisting on this one.
I will re-roll for the bowl.
And you managed to quickly patch him up. He should be able to gain consciousness within a few hours.
All right, we'll keep him monitored here, Amon. Good work. Vulcans have their unique way of healing, so he should be coming around in just a few hours. I think now we should take a look at the good doctor over here.
And I do have to go mobile.
All right. I'll roll for Amon if he needs to roll for anything with looking over the doctor here.
Give me reason plus medicine assisted by the ship's sensors plus medicine difficulty of 2.
Take 1 threat. And it was, I'm sorry, it was what in medicine?
Reason plus medicine, difficulty 2,
Reason.
assisted by sensors plus medicine.
Emergency medicine as a focus?
Internal medicine.
Internal medicine? Okay. Let's roll. I'll re-roll that 19 because he's got bold. Okay. And the ship. I'm sorry to ask again, GM. What was the ship again?
Sensors plus medicine. You rolled 2 dice.
Sensors medicine. Okay. Get 1 momentum, I think.
Yep. While she is while she's been kind of like stable, like you notice that she actually has some internal bleeding from a bulkhead that is, some that collapsed on her. Luckily, there was no her ribs weren't broken or anything like that. But it hit more of the tender areas, causing, some things to shift and move. And
Well, you see here, Doctor, it looks like you've got some internal bleeding that we're going to need to patch up here. This is why whenever mysterious people beam into my sick bay, I don't let them leave unless we do an analysis of them.
and here I thought I was just tired.
Well, you were tired, but not in the way that you thought you were. If you had fallen asleep with these injuries untreated, you might not have woken up.
Oh, I'm glad I beamed aboard.
All right, make sure they get patched up here. And looks like
This is going to be a control plus medicine, assisted by the ship's computer's medicine, difficulty 2.
okay. Control medicine.
I will take surgery for a focus.
Thank you. Can you take a momentum? Take another threat. He'll roll 3 die. I guess I'm going to re-roll one of them. Oh, man. Do I want to succeed at cost here? What's the impact of failing here with her?
Well, it's internal bleeding, so she could die.
Yeah, she could die. Succeed at cost if we can. Unless he's and I've already done the roll, so I can't use. He doesn't have determination, does he?
Well, he did.
Yeah, but
Vogel spent it.
Vogel spent it. Can I succeed at cost?
Yeah, you can succeed at cost.
Yeah. All right. Let's do that.
As you, the surgery did not go well. The tissue, there was a lot of ruptured tissue. And doing so, because of the internal bleeding, she's lost you had to open her up, which you were trying to do microscopically, and unfortunately, in doing so, she lost a lot of blood, and as sort of, you had to put her into a medical coma. And as for the complication, after you've patched her up, you lack the appropriate blood supply for her. You feel that you have to keep her in a medical coma until you can properly get the appropriate blood to help her regain, full, function.
Mhm.
So then you're filling her as fluids as much as possible, but she is borderline anemic.
Got it.
With that, I think we'll go back to the station real quick. And Knox, give me a reason plus security, difficulty of 2
Reason,
roll. Actually, be
reason
difficulty.
plus.
Yeah, it'd be difficulty 2.
Okay, reason and security. And do any of my focuses apply?
No, not for this roll.
Okay. So reason, security, and we're what about momentum? How are we doing on momentum?
We have 4, so we're good.
Okay, I'd like to spend one. And I'm also looking at all the data as well, okay, about the attack, which I've kind of put together in different files. Okay, here it goes. And I
As
believe I
you
can read.
go through
Yeah.
the sensor data, the attack was very swift. Sensors indicate a blip, what appears to be some sort of vessel decloaking, and then the ship's sensors went immediately offline. Or sorry, the station sensors went immediately offline. Internal sensors indicated multiple boarding parties, but due to the damage, it was unable to get a clear reading on who was responsible, like, biology wise, on board the station on who was attacked before the station's power, cut out and all readings went blank or essentially stopped.
Okay. So that's quite a bit to unpack. The first thing to unpack is the Maquis don't usually use cloaking devices. They are, I guess, unless they can get a hold of them, they're notoriously difficult to deal with and they require a lot of power, right?
Yeah.
So that would be unusual thing number one. Unusual thing number two is the strike teams all hit at the same time, right? The boarding parties, is that correct, GM?
It was like once the external sensors went offline and there was immense damage, boarding parties happened like right afterwards. Like,
That
and
would
they
indicate
and indicated
path.
that, yeah, it indicated like when the boarding parties happened, they beamed to all different sections of the station. Like there wasn't really a safe spot on board the station that in that moment. So
That would indicate powerful transporters aboard a ship with possible multiple bays, right? Meaning to pull something like that off, I'm going to hit your base. I'm going to put a bunch of people in your engineering department. I'm going to put people in your security on your bridge, right? That requires a lot of transport capacity.
you can
And that makes
surmise.
sense.
Okay. Um, I guess I'm going to put this back out and report to everybody, and especially to the first officer and the captain of a possible active cloaked ship in the area. This may have also been a bait maneuver. Just a warning. Meaning we could potentially be a target.
Well, once the captain gets that report, he'll have the ship taken to yellow alert and bring the shields up, except when we're running the transporters and begin an active scan for signs of cloaked vessels in the area. Unfortunately, my super duper science officer person is down on the station.
Yee.
Is there anything that you wish to do, Rye? Are you
That's all I. Yeah, I'm done.
Is there any? Would I be able to do a scan with whatever is left running in the system to just like keep an eye on if anything else is going to start going wrong, like an early warning system kind of thing?
I will tell you this: internal sensors are offline as you cruise through it.
Okay.
Well, anything you could find, Commander Rye, in the station's logs that might give us an idea if there's anything specific that the raiders might would have wanted. Let's see if you can pull an inventory. Uh, see if we can
Yes,
identify
Commander.
what was stolen.
I'll do that.
Give me a insight plus science difficulty 2.
Would Starfleet Protocol come into play?
No.
No, probably not. Yeah, no. I just had to try. I'm gonna go ahead and buy a die. And I'm gonna fish on that 18.
Yeah, you caught a sockeye salmon.
Aw.
You get a momentum for that?
Because it was a diff too, right?
You have two, yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I am clarifying some notes here real quick.
No worries.
No worries.
Well, the GM was clarifying. Those in the room here, a conversation between the XO and the captain, where the XO is reporting, giving a status update to the captain. Perone says, "Very well. Based on these reports we've seen from Captain Keir about this Phantom character, I can't remember seeing anything in the log about them using ships, but they did talk about abducted researchers. Uh, Go ahead and have the away team sweep the station, see if you can identify whose remains can be found. Let's compare it to the station's crew manifest. Let's see if anybody's missing." Yes, sir. On it right away. There, that was for my fellow players who wanted to hear me talk to myself.
Knox is gonna also say, let's also look for any anomalies, people who aren't listed as being on the base, but we're here nonetheless.
Good thinking, Lieutenant. That's would probably if they're not on the crew manifest, they might be the raiders. Maybe the maybe our defenders here managed to take one or two down.
They might have sent in scouts. There's a number of possibilities.
So if it was me leading this particular raiding party, I'd have taken the bodies with me.
Commander, and Mr. Dryat, the medicinal plants that you received recently from the Rolor system, did they take those?
They took pretty much everything. I hadn't had a chance to check the cargo. I know a lot of our medical supplies from just basic compounds to um, pain relievers, even surgical equipment in some cases. They were they went through everything. I mean,
That's the only thing that might have. I mean, everything has value in this sense, but why? I need to see if they were targeting those plants because if they were for research and this is concerning. Why would they want the chairs?
I was talking and it didn't have I had my finger on the wrong button. Try this again. Uh, Mr. Dryden, if I accompanied you down to the cargo bay, do you think the two of us could work together to see if we can identify exactly what was taken, or at least make an estimate?
I mean, they took everything. The cargo hold is gone. Empty. I had to scavenge multiple consoles just to get enough wiring to rig up the life support to function for the
Yep.
next 3 days.
That's disturbing. Do you have a complete manifest of what was supposed to be there?
We do. It's from food stores to engineering equipment to research equipment to research materials, components, you name it.
She'll hand him his pad. Transfer it to my pad here. There have been other similar attacks in the region, in the quadrant, perhaps in the region. Perhaps we might be able to cross list these, see if there's any commonalities. In the meantime, Lieutenant Rye, Commander Rye, Lieutenant Nice, it looks like we've gotten all out of the computers we can. Let's start that sweep of the station the captain wants.
Hi, Commander.
Mr. Dry, if you're welcome to accompany us, but you seem a little. It's been a long day. If you'd like, I can have you taken. I can have our transport chief send you back up to the ship. I certainly would like to see you sit down for a session with our counselor and let our doctor have a look at you.
Uh, I would like that, Commander. To be honest, I'm a little famished as he gives a smile, weak as it would be.
We'll get you taken care of, Hal. And then she'll hit her comm badge. This is Commander Baral to Transporter Room 1.
Transporter room here.
Chief, I'm going to have you beam up Mr. Hal Dryat, the current station commander, and have him escorted to medical for a physical, and get him a meal and an appointment with the counselor, if you would.
I'll do you one better, Commander. I'll beam him directly into sickbay.
Very good. And with
So to speed things a little bit as you kind of sweep through this station, several areas are kind of locked out. You only find a total of 4 dead out of a station of 20, so 12 are missing.
Anything interesting about these particular 12s, like certain types of science specialties or anything like that?
They seem to be engineering technicians, um,
Hmm.
and human.
Solak says it is possible that they were sucked out into the void of space due to the hull ruptures.
It is.
But given the log entries regarding this mysterious phantom character, it is possible they were also taken as hostages by these raiders.
I happen to agree with you.
well, it's certainly suspicious that of the 12 missing, most of them are all from a single field of expertise.
Looking at the specific expertises, what kind of engineering department could you support, GM? Would this be just maintenance or
I'm sorry. What do you?
I'm just saying if we look at the people who are gone, potentially
They're maintenance support. You know,
mainly supportive.
it's not uncommon to have maybe if a fourth of your crew on the station be engineers. I mean, most of
Just to
your
maintain the
ships,
station.
yeah, just for maintaining the station, clean up type deal. So
Right.
And that's all 12 of the missing. I mean, if we play one of these things ain't like the other, does anybody stand out as different from the
oh
others?
no, the 12 missing are potentially researchers. I mean, to get an idea of like who's missing, I mean, you can give me insight con difficulty 2, kind of go through their personnel records.
Oh, that's not her. That's not. I was like, oh, let's get the roll for the XO, and then I looked at her con score. I'm like, oh, all right, well, yeah, give this a shot anyway. No focus. Oh, what the heck? What's momentum if not to spend? I'll spend all
Exactly.
3 of them on 2 extra die.
Spend it.
Hey, looks like I need it since
It,
that
Yeah,
success on the 4th die.
not bad.
You notice all the crew that are missing are scientists, but they're also non-human, not from Earth. Um, Many of them are. A couple of them are Vulcans. One is Betazoid. Um, you know, from different parts of the Federation. One I'm missing is a Bajoran, Dr. Relan Loss. He is a immunologist. That also seems to be missing, and he seems to be sort of the head researcher for in terms for medical researching, like for like drugs and pathogens and whatnot.
Okay, if we cross-reference that with the other ship's log, with Captain Kier's logs, are there any does anything stand out as like, hey, this group and this group kind of seem to specialize in the same sort of thing?
You can surmise however you want.
Okay, once we've swept the station, um, I don't know that there's anything else we can do down here unless my fellow players have other ideas of what we might want to look for before returning to the ship.
Hmm.
Solok can't think of anything. There's nothing left to really repair on the station. And he'll have the bodies beamed back to the ship for autopsy. The 2 bodies that are in engineering.
Okay, so you guys return to the ship.
Yeah, it seems like we've done all we can here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, guys, I got nothing.
Where to next?
Hmm.
Once
Conference
you
room.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's not my call.
Well, before we do that, after hearing Commander Baral's kind of summary to the captain, uh, Perone says to Commander Rye, "That was a long shot, Commander. But see if you can do a deep scan of the area looking for neutrino signatures common to cloaking devices. And maybe if we really get lucky, something that might give us a direction, some sort of remnants of a warp trail. I know it's a long shot, but I feel like we need to check just in case."
Captain, based on the damage to the station and the breaches into the station, we might be able to determine where the ship was, its exact location in space when it fired on the station. That could also then give us an idea of from where it actually traveled to after the attack.
Good thinking, Commander Solak. Work with Lieutenant Knox. See if you can track that down.
Okay. We'll work together on that.
Sounds good. Or, I'm sorry, Solok would say, excellent.
And as Knox would say, hi.
I guess here's a question for you, GM. If we do our roll to see if we can determine the location of the ship when it fired on the station, would that help Rye with her investigation to see if she could find where,
I
basically the neutrino trail would be for the ship?
I already gave Rye the answer to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you guys can give me like an insight plus security difficulty of 2, and I'll take combat tactics as a focus.
Any
You
kind of
can
ion trail or anything would have faded off by now. So it's not going to be able to track you that way.
Okay. So can I assist Knox with this roll?
Yeah.
Okay. So inside security.
Yeah, assisted by
Okay.
the ship's computer security as you're running kind of simulations.
Okay.
Okay.
So that'll be your 2 rolls, my roll, and the ship. So that'll give us 4 die
Okay.
total.
You want to make the roll? I don't care who does it.
Well, yeah, you would roll first. So you would
Okay.
do your roll, and then I would do mine to assist you, and then we would do the ship.
Do we have enough momentum for me to spend a momentum on this?
We have no momentum right now.
Okay. Well,
Sub
then.
full spend it all.
Okay. So then
But it's a difficulty 2 roll. So between you, me, and the ship, we got a pretty good chance of getting it.
Okay. And do any of my focuses apply?
Yeah,
Survival.
I said I would take combat tactics.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Okay. Here we go then. I'm making the. Let's see. And that is insight and security.
And no pressure. You absolutely need to have at least one.
I hope so. I do have the security skill that allows me to.
They got it. They got it.
So
There's Solok's roll.
Gain a momentum.
Not a word, Solok. Not a word.
I was going to roll for the ship, but that's okay. That's okay. You can
Um,
take it.
The as you run a simulation based on all the information you've gathered, you surmise that a cloaked vessel or a vessel immediately decloaked and opened a barrage of photon torpedoes upon this the station. Striking, seems to be a very surgical strike, knocking out a lot of the station, parts of the station almost immediately, causing multiple secondary hull breaches. The station was quickly caught off guard and overwhelmed.
And this is a station without this is a science station, so they don't have like defenses, right? They don't have like phasers or torpedoes or anything like that.
Yeah, the station was also unshielded in order to get this kind of damage effect.
Yeah. So this just seems from Solok's perspective, this just seems unnecessarily brutal. Like if you wanted to just disable the station's ability to turn its shields on, you could decloak and shoot that immediately, and then the station's completely defenseless.
Begs the question, if they were using this much firepower to launch at the station, why did they leave it intact?
Exactly. Why not just destroy the station? Why have living or potentially living witnesses on the station? And if their intention was to remove hostages from the station, they would not have done this extensive of damage. They would have simply disabled the station's shields, beamed aboard, and taken what they wish.
Well, consider that the possibility still exists that the 12 missing were blown out into space, which creating that possibility may have been a motive behind the amount of destruction they caused. As far as why they didn't destroy it on the way out, perhaps there was no tactical need for them.
And also, Captain,
mentioned that they were in a hurry.
And also, Captain, if indeed they are in a hurry, and if it was a raiding party, the extent of the damage here would be damaging the very things that they wanted to raid.
Depends on how surgical they were with those strikes. In fact, didn't Lieutenant Knox, didn't your analysis indicate that it was a relatively surgical strike?
this was. Well, GM, give me an answer on that. I mean, it doesn't seem to the player like this was a surgical strike.
On the surface, it doesn't, but given the amount of damage, it has to be surgical in order for the station to survive. The amount of beating they took in the initial volley.
So they wanted it not to look surgical, but in fact it was, is basically what
Yes.
the assessment. Okay, that's what I give the boss then. Sir, this was designed to look like a beating, but it was a surgical one.
A deception. A trick.
Yes.
To make it seem much more violent and brutal than what it actually was, in terms of what they wanted.
Yes. That would imply a motive. That would imply a motive in that action.
And some premeditation towards the creation of, well, a bit of theater.
I think it unlikely, based on my analysis, and Lieutenant, I would be interested in your assessment, that this is a Maquis attack.
I'm leaning away from Maquis. I'm thinking it's designed to look like a Maquis attack. Who is this individual who you've been warned about, Captain? This
The Phantom, I believe, is who you are referring to.
yes.
I don't know any more than what's in Captain Keir's logs.
Based on the logs, it is determined that the individual potentially could have been a former Starfleet cadet that has become disillusioned.
That's
We know that the Phantom is female and that they are operating via some sort of remote holographic technology.
with this name that Mr. Dryad overheard, Dira. Uh, could that be the Phantom's name? Could they be referring to this person by their actual name? Not enough information to really nail that down, but it's a possibility.
It is possible, but
Yeah.
we don't have any leads right now as to where this potential Phantom is.
Yes, everything at this point, sir, is just speculation. We don't have enough information. We can say it was tried to look like a Maquis attack. Probably is some level of diversion. But that's all we can tell you. And the place was hit pretty hard in terms of goods and stuff.
I'm gonna Burrell.
Do we know if the Maquis have any cloaking technology?
I've not heard of the Maquis having any cloaked ships, but it's possible.
Based on what we know from Starfleet intelligence, they do not have cloaking technology, but it is certainly possible that they could have pilfered it.
This would be a unique vessel for them, one outfitted with at least Klingon level cloaking tech.
And it would seem to be illogical on their part to use such a valuable asset as a cloaked ship to attack a seemingly unarmed and defenseless research station.
Right. I agree.
The other items that we have, Captain, are the three individuals in sickbay who are currently under the doctor's care. One is a Vulcan, and the other is a Starfleet officer.
Sir, I'm picking up a distress signal from the SS Redamora, about 2 light years away.
All right, bring us to red alert. Set course and engage at maximum warp.
Aye, sir.
Engines are at full power.
Rye, give me a scan of that area as soon as we get within range.
Ready and ready, Captain.
And I'll engage the warp.
What's the name of that ship? 8 hours? Go 2 light years?
At 9.8. Do you wish to?
See, I
Push
was
that
able
up?
to increase the speed.
I don't think we can maintain that speed at 8 hours safely. Can we? Solak, can you get it done?
If it is necessary, we will endeavor to do so.
Make it happen. Mr. Vogel, if you can shave off any distance on that 2 light years, do your best.
Aye, sir. I will see if there's a more precise course to take. I will see if I can adjust course to shave some time off.
Yeah, your emergency warp is 9.82. It's pretty much a straight shot. So in order to get there faster, you're gonna need to, boost the engines.
I will attempt to boost the engines.
How do you wish to do that?
Reserve power. We can channel reserve power into the engine so that they operate more efficiently, thereby increasing the warp speed. Of course, doing so will require a very precise calculation, because if too much power goes into the warp engines, there could be a problem.
So by doing so, I'll put it this way. So, by doing that, you will come out of warp, potentially to hostile engagements without emergency power. Just
I look
FYI.
I explain this to the captain, and I say, Captain, I would be able to increase warp speed by utilizing emergency power. However, if we were to come out of warp speed and have to engage in a hostile activity, we would not have emergency power at our disposal.
Are there any other options, such as altering the warp field to make it more streamlined, more efficient?
Is that an option, GM? It's my understanding that the warp field coincides with the speed, and if you start altering the warp field, then it can you're effectively altering space and time, and things could get things become unstable at that point. In my vast knowledge of fake Star Trek engineering and physics.
Okay, so I guess you can pump more power into this, modify the warp field bubble, which could potentially cause some issues. Any other suggestions on how you can try to get more speed out of the ship?
I'm thinking of pulling up the new technical manual.
I think those are two interesting options. One is basically we don't have reserve power in case we have combat, and the other one, it's a potential risk to the ship while we're maintaining that speed.
But if we can get there faster, we might be able to save lives.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the decision, I guess.
Could modify the deflector dish to enhance the warp bubble efficiency.
I think that's kind of that was option 2.
Oh.
But by altering the warp bubble, you're potentially putting the ship at risk, because the warp bubble is calibrated specifically for that kind of speed.
I have a question. How fast, or to get there? What is a reasonable time for you guys? Like, how quickly do you want to get there?
My answer to that is ASAP.
I feel that we should just maintain our top speed here, because I'd rather not show up to a potential problem with our systems being out of whack and not being able to assist immediately. But again, that's just personal preference here.
we're
I
only.
mean, we got to take time. We're just gonna have to get there as fast as we can. But I'd rather have all of our ducks in a row.
Well, I saw that just went flying by the chat window. It looks like we'd only save about 30 minutes.
Yeah, and that's not really gonna make
Well,
that
I'm
much.
gonna say it's narrative here, okay, on things on this point. So, like, you would probably boost your speeds beyond regulation or your ship engines. It will be a bumpy ride, like the Excelsior had in Star Trek 6. So,
All right, engineer, what's your recommendation? Do we make minor adjustments to the warp field, or do you pump reserve power into the engines?
I am typically against adding or adjusting the warp field bubble. If you feel that the additional 30 minutes is necessary, I would recommend adding the emergency power.
you guys are okay. So this can be narrative. So if you're, what I'm going to set the difficulty on is how quickly, if you're wanting to increase to get there. So lessen the time. So like say well we want to get there in 2 hours. So that's gonna be a much higher difficulty than say 6 hours. Kind of
Got it.
get what I'm saying
Got it.
here.
Yeah, got it. I mean, really what it comes down to is, I think what you're asking us is when do we want to get there? If we try and get
And the
there in
method.
2 hours, if we try and get there in 2 hours, it's going to be really difficult and we're going to put the ship at significant risk, right?
If you use the reserve power, like all your emergency power to get there quickly enough, you will arrive there without reserve power, essentially.
Yeah.
And it would be a high difficulty to get there. Say like you want to get there within an hour or 2 or 6 will depend on the actual difficulty of the roll.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the difficulty to say shave 2 hours off our arrival time versus 3 hours?
Difficulty 2.
Like for 2 hour, and what would it to shave 3 hours off?
3.
4 hours off.
4.
Solak, you still got your determination?
I do.
Then cut that time in half, Solak. As Captain Sulu would say, fly her apart then, damn it.
So you want 4 hours, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll use my determination. And
this will be a daring plus engineering difficulty of 4, assisted by the ship's engines plus engineering. Complication range is 2.
Can Vogel assist? Because I'm actually the one trying to keep this thing together.
Sure.
From a value standpoint, I think the only one I can think of here is information is power. His knowledge of the ship, his knowledge of how emergency power would be utilized.
That's not really how I see that value, but
that's the best I can. Unless you want to take never leave a stone unturned, like he's being very precise in how he implements this.
It's either that, or there would be a standing mission directive to respond to vessels in distress.
You could use either mission directive or I'll take never leave a stone unturned as this is also part of our best lead. If we get there quick enough, we might actually come up with something.
Okay, so it's Solak, Rye, and the ship?
The ship, Vogel, and
Vogel.
Sorry, I apologize. Vogel, not Rye. Take another threat, and I'll add another die, just in case, because it's a difficult. We need difficulty 4. I'll use my determination. GM for determination. I roll 3 die plus I check the determination box.
I think they fixed it. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I'm always.
I
They
don't
fixed
think
it.
they did.
You know, they fixed it.
They fixed it.
Oh,
Oh,
no, they
great.
didn't. No,
Great.
no, they didn't.
Oh, they. So should I roll?
I'll just be clarified. Like, so there is a new version of it, and in the new version they
Huh?
fixed it. They did not. It was not in this build. The new version is
Oh,
fixed.
okay.
So you will still, if you're rolling 3 dice, you will select your termination and just roll the 2, like normal.
Roll 2 die, and it's a complication range of 2.
Yes.
Got it. I'm using and the focus that I'll use is I guess reverse engineering.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right.
This is definitely not something you do. It's not textbook.
Do every day. Yeah, this is not textbook. Here is the roll. Hey, that's loving it. Complication.
And then
But
for
I got
mine, would
it.
it be daring? For mine, would it be daring con?
Yeah, daring con. Engines engineering from the ship.
Helm ups focus.
I'm gonna re-roll that complication. By the way,
Do you have bold?
oh no, I don't have bold. Never mind.
Just need the ship. You do gain a momentum.
I'll do the ship.
Okay, who,
If the ship was engines and what?
Engineering.
Engines and engineering. Hey, don't hate me. It's the ship. She's just not feeling it today.
As you use all the emergency power to get there, for the next 4 hours, the ship violently shakes, making everyone really queasy on board the ship. As appropriate, people head forward as they watch their cups slide and fall off the table. As for the complication, I will take that as threat.
At some point, someone on the ship will say something about the hoping the ship will hold together, and the captain will say, "You heard that, right? Hold together." There's your Star Wars reference for today.
And suddenly we're medieval times.
And on your view screen, you see 2 Orion interceptors battling out with a what appears to be a merchant vessel. And with that, I think we will conclude today's session.
oh,
Right when we're gonna get into combat.